and welcome to a spring statement special with me, Simon Hill. No Billy today, but due to the fact that there was so much to digest from the spring statement, and we unfortunately only have so much time on the regular episodes of A Blind Insight, I wanted to delve into the spring statement a bit more because it's something that I certainly feel very strongly about, and I think there is a number of issues that, even with all the protests and complaining, still aren't being actually talked about, and I believe need addressing if any of these changes are to make any difference anyway. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes going over those and sharing my thoughts on them. And of course, I welcome your comments and thoughts as well. Tell me if you think I'm talking rubbish or if you agree, because whether we think it or not, or whether some people think it or not, this is an issue that is already affecting us, and if it carries on like it is, with the welfare bill continuing to rise and more people as the years go on not working and seemingly would rather be diagnosed with a debilitating health condition or disability than simply get out there and do something worthwhile and earn a living, then it's going to mean that it'll cost us more, and there is even less resources to provide the care and support that people with real disabilities and health conditions actually need. So the first issue really, I outlined in the episode in the last episode, how much can be gained by getting a child diagnosed with a disability or health condition, because this will earn extra money through DLA and universal credit, and this is the way, as far as I can see, that people are getting around the 2-child benefit cap, because the child, although they don't get an extra amount of benefit for the child, not standard benefit if you like, they will still get the disability benefits for that child. And in my job now, working with universal credit claims, the amount of claims that I see that have not even just one disabled child on, but more than one, and also 2 parents both claiming disability benefits and not working, and all of this is ultimately costing the taxpayers more every month than somebody earning a salary of £30,000 a year or more takes home after their tax is paid. And this just can't be fair and can't be right, and can't, it's wrong on so many levels and doesn't help anybody, because where is the adults? What are they doing with their lives apart from having kids? They're not going out there and working and doing something useful. And that's what the children will see. And so the message that they'll be giving to their children is not what the message that I was given growing up, which is you need to try and get the best education you can, and then find the best job you can, because nothing's going to be given to you, and obviously that's going to be even harder with a disability, and your options are going to be more limited. Instead of that kind of message, these children are just going to be told basically, well, it doesn't matter, the state will pay for you, and if you don't want to work, it doesn't matter. Have kids, they'll pay for your kids as well, and so on the cycle goes. And that's part of the problem, I think, that we're now into a second or third generation of this issue, and it's just rolling on and rolling on. And what really has startled me since I started this job is the attitude of the benefit claimants. they're not grateful for being given this money for doing nothing. They, for example, when I read messages and respond to messages, half the time they don't even start them with a greeting, hello, no pleases, no thank yous. They just bark their demands, like, where's my money? Why is it late? Why have you taken money off me? And all the time I'm thinking, hang on a second, this isn't your money. You know, it isn't your money. You haven't done anything for it. You're being given this to help you survive. And so there, in a nutshell, for me, is the attitude of people who see this as their birthright to be given money, even if they're not doing anything for it. And that then moves on to the question. They're talking about investing however many million, a million or however many millions into improving the support that's available to get people back to work. Now, I would certainly say, with the experience that I've had, that the support to help those of us with a genuine disability who want to go to work needs to be improved, because it hasn't given me any help, to be quite honest, over the 7 years I've been looking for a job. So yes, it does need to be improved. However, what are we going to do about the people who, it seems, are determined not to work, i.e. they complained about part of their conditions for claiming universal credit, for example, is having to attend appointments at the job centre with a work coach to help them find work. But they complain about having to do that. They think it's an inconvenience to them and against their liberties or human rights. And so that says to me, they don't want the support that's there, however good or bad it is. So then they do all they can to get themselves diagnosed as incapable of working, and then they don't have to attend appointments, and they can just do whatever they want to do and take the money. So unless we do something about this, unless we take strong action against people who are simply, for whatever reason, refusing to work or even engage with whatever support is there to find work, what difference is it going to make however good the support is, if these people are refusing to engage with it? So surely the only option is you need to stop giving them the money for doing nothing. Otherwise, they're just going to keep doing it. So I do feel that is a major issue that hasn't even been mentioned, and that really we're not getting down to the nitty gritty of what's really going on with people's attitude and the amount of people out there who are simply quite happy and feel entitled, it seems, to abuse the welfare system. So that is a topic that needs addressing. And I received a message the other day from a claimant who said, I've just been found incapable of working, which I'm very happy about. And it made me think, is that what we've really come to? People are happy to be declared as incapable. I, for one, as a disabled person, have battled against being seen as incapable my entire life. And now, or it seems, we've got people who are desperate to be seen as that. They would rather be seen and labelled as that than be able to say to people, oh, I do this for a living or that for a living. Where has that come from? How has that happened? When I was out of work, I felt horrible when I had to say I was unemployed. I felt embarrassed. And so where does this attitude come from people where they're not embarrassed? They just feel this entitlement to go ahead, have as many children as they wish, expect the state to pay for the accommodation they need, and that's fine as far as they're concerned. How has it got to that? And successive governments have attempted to and failed because as has happened again now, charities who are supposed to be representing and supporting the people with genuine disabilities start jumping up and down and complaining about it. Well, they shouldn't be complaining about it. They should welcome this, and they should work with the government to identify if they really want to help and support people with whatever health condition or disability they are supposed to represent, if you like. They should be helping wheedle out the fraudsters, frankly, because that's what they are, and get them out of the system, which will allow more funding and support for those that really need it. Not just complaining about, oh, you're persecuting disabled people. It's not persecuting disabled people. It's trying to find the people that are abusing the system and hiding behind the people who have real disabilities. And no one is disputing that there are genuine cases. Of course there are, but there are not this many million. It's and rising. It's got to stop. So that's what these charities need to do, in my view, is stop fighting against it and work with it to sort this issue out. And then, the hypocrisy is just, well, as ever in politics, mind-blowing, because when the Conservatives did this, then Labour screened Blue Murder, and then now, of course, it's them doing it, and it's all necessary. It is necessary, and it's got to be done, and we've got to get a grip of it. And in the end, there's no good that comes out of it, because all that happens is people end up isolated. Their children get labelled with a condition that really they probably don't even really have. They don't work. They don't interact really with people. That means they don't develop skills and confidence. And so how is that? How can that be a nice existence? And when it comes to genuine cases, I sit there, I look at claims, and I think to myself, okay, so people are claiming that they've got anxiety and depression, which seems to be the most common claim nowadays, but yet they don't seem to be scared by the fact that they're scared. They're too scared to go out and go to work and get a job, apparently, but they're not fazed by the responsibility and the task of looking after 1, 2, 3, 4 or more children. Well, I know which would scare me more, put it that way. And then, as anyone that really has depression and anxiety knows, it affects you all the time. It's not something you can pick and choose and switch off, and so how is it then that these people say that they can't possibly function and go to work and work with and meet strangers or whatever, but yet they still manage to find someone to have children with? Isn't that? I don't know about anyone else, but when I meet anyone for the first time, I'm nervous, and when it's a date and someone you really want to try and impress, even more so. But they seem to manage it all right. So how anxious are they really? And if you really suffer with depression, then socialising is something that you really don't feel in the mood to do a lot of the time. So their behaviour and the way their life is gives the impression that how untrue this is. they feel that they can't work. It affects them so it affects them so they can't work, but it doesn't affect them with everything else. They can still they still seem to have a good social life and all the rest of it. So it just can't be, and they're getting away with it, and they can't be allowed to keep getting away with it, and it needs to be addressed, and people need to stop resisting it and fighting against it, because there are people out there who are and have been abusing the welfare system for way too long, and it's crippling the economy. And now that, again, another issue that people are not really talking about, but as I talked about in the last episode of A Blind Insight, the effect that artificial intelligence is going to have, the fact that industries are going, businesses are folding, bank branches are closing, all these things are putting more and more people on the unemployed list, and that's going to increase the welfare budget. And the sad thing is, and the ridiculous thing is these people, they might have been working for most of their lives, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and they'll get less out of the welfare system than people who have done nothing, contributed nothing, but have managed to get themselves diagnosed with something and then proceeded to have however many children and get them all diagnosed with stuff as well. But yet they've put nothing into the system, but they've been getting more out of it than these people were getting when they were working, and they'll get more out of it than the people get when they lose their jobs. And I just feel we've just lost all form of sense and sanity over this. And another issue that isn't being talked about, which would be a massive money saver, is the Motability scheme. That scheme was set up to support people who needed a vehicle that needed to be specially adapted for them to use it, i.e. if you couldn't use your legs, if you couldn't use an arm, if you couldn't use both arms, or whatever it may be. It wasn't meant to be so that anybody who happens to get the mobility component of PIP or DLA can then go and claim, can then go and take their pick from a load of vehicles such as Mercedes, Beamers, vehicles that working people would have to pay out thousands and thousands of pounds to have, but they can go and get them and then have them maintained for free, and that only costs them the mobility component of their benefit, which is about, depending on the rate, so I'll have to double check the rate, but you can check it for yourselves. But it's not much, and certainly not much, and certainly not the same as it would cost someone to buy and maintain one of those cars for them out of the money that they've earned. So that is being utterly abused by, you've got everything from people getting them because their children get the benefit, so they use that to go and get a nice car. Partners, while the disabled partner is at home, then the partner who isn't is out there driving the nice car to work or whatever else they do. It's just, how can that be right? It needs to be stopped. And we've just lost all sight of what this was meant to be and what it was meant to do. And so, as I say, people need to stop trying to resist it and fight against it. If we want to stop this abuse of the system, then we need to get a grip of this. And no matter who the government is and how unpopular it may be, it can't be about winning votes. It's got to be about getting people out of this cycle of taking money and putting nothing in. And otherwise, well, whatever gets said, whatever forecasts are made about growth and everything, the economy isn't going to grow. It's just going to be sucked into oblivion, because you don't need to be an economic genius to know that if you've got more going out of the pot than you've got coming in, then sooner or later it's going to cause you trouble. So there we are. We'll see. Also, Labour are claiming they're going to reshape the civil service, which, you know, has been claimed in recent years. But I'll leave you with this thought. The last two people that really championed reforming the civil service and stopping the waste of money and getting rid of the people that were being overpaid for not doing much were Boris Johnson and Liz Truss, and not long after that they were ousted. So I wait with interest to see what stories or photographs suddenly materialise of Keir Starmer and Rachel Reeves and Angela Rayner and anybody else doing stuff that they shouldn't have been doing, because it seems that every time the civil service is challenged, then the politicians that challenge them suddenly have get a target put on their back. So we'll see what happens there. But there we are. They're my thoughts. So as I say, do get in touch and let me know what you think. And we'll myself and Billy. Well, actually, what I'm going to try and do is put out a weekly summary of what's going on in the news each week, as well as the episodes with myself and Billy discussing things. So hopefully you'll enjoy those and give me feedback on them, please, as well. But until the next time, take care.